So réir go hocht, tá ban meachachmach ó rachgarh bailáthlí á cheistú ag attorney a héin sa teach cuarta. So there's a middle-class woman from Rathgar in Dublin being questioned by attorney one in the courthouse. Dalriad she go bhfuair Moira post mar chalí naimsirlí. So he explains that Moira got a job as like a house cleaner. Tá rééis roite, thug si fiar go raibh Moira ag gumper clina. So after employing her, she then found out that Moira was pregnant. Okay. Agus fuair she oid sa Teach Charman D. So she got her a place in Teach Charman, okay, which is the Magdalen Laundry that we'll be seeing in a second. Okay. An sin tá an attorney dó ag ceistú Banny Kinselig. So then attorney 2 starts questioning Banny Kinselig. Tágann sé an solas nóir thug sí an thurstal bhí luitin san ógra ché de Mhóra. So he puts light to the fact that she did not give the wage that she had mentioned in the ad to Moira. Cé go raibh obair Mhóra sa súil, so even though Moira's work was satisfactory, mar nach raibh litrica multa nó chastas ag Moira because she did not have a letter of recommendation or a CERT. Bhí ceithre fund sa teachtain luite san ógra, so £4 a week was mentioned in the ad. Agus níor íoch Banny Kinselig ach 2 funt is 10 shilling na Moira, but she only paid her £2 10 shillings. Cuir an attorney though in a lí earn, go raibh Banny Kinselig ag déanamh dúhéirú ar Mhóra model of course agad. So attorney 2 shows us that Banny Kinselig was actually exploiting Moira when it came to payment or money. Conan attorney though so attorney 2 criticises her, mar go thug she an bátar agus bóthar de Mhóra because she threw Moira out. To reach 3V after 3 months, có lua is a fuair she mac go raibh Moira gumper clina. Okay, so as soon as she found out that Moira was pregnant, in Anion na deat obair rinne Moira sa teach. So despite the good work Moira was doing in the house, agus leis Lani and with the kids. I Raikine fekmid Moira ag obair mar chalí naimsir a deach Banny Kinselig. So we now see Moira working as basically a cleaner or a housekeeper in Banny Kinselig's house. Tágan I brí sosialta dor bhanam or onion í Vrasel, Carla Banny Kinselig chuig an teach. So a social worker, onion í Vrasel, who is a friend of Banny Kinselig, has just come to the house. Dús in the start, Laureen Sheila Banny Kinselig, she speaks to Banny Kinselig. Agus míníon Banny Kinselig D, so she explains to her nach féidir le Moira a chamad sa teach that she can't keep Moira in the house, agus í ag obair clina. Cé go bhfuil she go hanamh leis na páistí. So even though she's pregnant, and even though she's really good with the kids. Okay, so because she's pregnant, Banny Kinselig doesn't want her to stay. Haar ngóig Moira nóir an glán dóir so Moira would bring embarrassment on the family, she says. Iran Banny Kinselig Mhóra lauert le Onion í Vrasel, so Banny Kinselig asks Moira to speak to Onion í Vrasel, the social worker. Cuir she brew Mhóra teaghála dhéanamh lena clown, so she puts pressure on Moira to contact her family. Ach dúirt Moira gur fearr le í féin a bhá san abhainn, but she says she would rather kill herself in the river. Tá rééis doing umper Banny Cahasig réir go chathair acáil. So after seeing the actions of Banny Cahasig in scene 4, it's féidir in dearcha Mhóra hiiscint. We understand Moira's outlook. In Néireann na Dála, targan Onion í Vrasel oid de Mhóra I Teach Charman. So in the end, Onion í Vrasel gets a place for Moira in Teach Charman. Áit a bhaig Moira Lóistín bia aradochtúir agus altracha dóirlé. So a place where Moira will get accommodation, food, doctor's help and nurse's help. Téan an taxin ar as go bhí an teach courtas, so the action goes back to the courthouse. Ceistíonn an bheirt attorney Onion í Vrasel, so the 2 attorneys question Onion í Vrasel, agus míníonn siad dóibh, she explains to them, chuna sa fuair she oid de Mhóra sa Teach Charman, how she got a place for Moira in the refuge. So right there on Shomer Níocháin sa Teach Charman, so this is the washroom in the refuge. So fekmid Moira sa Shomer Níocháin, we see her in the washroom leis na chalíní eile sa Teach Charman with the other girls in the refuge. It's clear go bhfuil na chalíní eile anna difriúla Moira, so it's clear that the other girls are very different to Moira. Tugan Carter dor bhanam Seanín an bhótar, fear bhailíonn an Níocháin nó ní na measc na nantóg iarthaí. So another character called Seanín, young Sean, who's a man who collects the washing, said that she was a daisy among the weeds. Clushmi kaint garv na chalíní, so we hear the rude talk of the girls, agus iad expeoch a Seanín, and they're taking the mick basically out of Seanín. Agus ag léirg beagán chúl chainte uig ón sé lasma. Okay, and there's a bit of back talk from the world outside. So they're getting some of the gossip from the outside world. Is unshin tuha I Moira Dorlo. Okay, so she's a country girl. He says about Moira. Mar salir doiv nach vil mór an tahi no olasig Moira and say more, because it's clear that she does not have a lot of experience when it comes to life. Closhi Moira na Colleen kind fi altrimha. So Moira hears the girls talking about adoptive parents. Agus ní higgin she cadatá I geis leis an term, and she doesn't understand what the term means. Cos sin Moira Colleen ortha dorvan an Molly. So Moira questions a girl called Molly, Maria will learn process about the process of winning the haltermas. That's to do with fostering. Quinn fragri volley foster Moira. So Molly's answers put absolute horror in Moira. Meaning and Molly D got Dr. Lana van Moher Einar de Lanun Fosta. So Molly explains to them that they take the child from a single mother and give them to a married couple. We knew foster vor, so Moira is horrified. Nach mina isig a moher ki hiad an lanun a hogan an lanaver altmas. So Moira is horrified that the mother doesn't know the couple who take the child, no chanasa umpian an lanaver mock, or how the child ends up. Quern keshna Moira farga volley, so the questions that Moira asks Molly angers her. Kegelig and Molly irhi nach gwern an process altmacha is stach no mock irhi. So even though Molly says that the fostering or the adoptive process doesn't upset her, it's lergo gwern keshna vor stock irhi. It's clear that Moira's questions definitely do upset her. Legan Molly irhi agus ia kaint le Moira, go bhaig she posted monacha agus oras on dífein, tar réishtí an seach chairman ágáil. So Molly tells her that she's going to get a job in a factory and an apartment for herself after leaving the refuge. Tágraíonn na Chalaíola go hindíocht the first Molly, so the other girls refer to Molly's job mar stríopach as a stripper. I rá nach bhfuil taithíocha ar bheith ina seasamh agus í a gobar, so saying that she doesn't have experience in standing up while she's working. In action after that, tá an onin vrasal con mulla de vor a lana vahorta alchemist, the lanung posta credunach. So onin vrasal comes to try and convince Moira to give her child up for adoption to a credible married couple. Nor Vinci Solar Knockville Moira saw Solana Vahorta alchemist, so when it's clear that Moira is not happy to give her child up for adoption, Tagan frustrates her on Anna becomes frustrated. It's near Knockville she saw the Carula Moira, so it's clear she's not happy to help Moira and Lochan Moira leis an réalcha unless she accepts the rules. Is Colleen count on a stucha I Dora Lahonini Vassal, so she's a stubborn, silly girl, Oni says. Deir Moira go bhfuil sé ar insinnacha posta óla bhunacha agus our son. So Moira says that it's on her mind to get a job in a factory and an apartment, agus the fádragin for herself and fádragin the child. So Gníomhadó, so now we're in Riker Hain of Gníomhadó. Tá tús an oirc sitje sa teach court, so the start of the scene is situated in a courthouse. Caistína na heturnathe banisteoir na manacha. So they questioned the manager of the factory. Dalrian Shaker Hogan Banister post the Voyer mar Glantor, so he actually gave a job to Moira as a cleaner. Tá Shkoma Ern Scale gur far unra Kinalta Maconta a Banistor na Munchen, so he appears to be a appears to be a lovely and kind fella, a Hogan Aravadoch Iberha who really looks after his workers. Diachinius Mona on Gnora of the Paul and Moira, so he pays more than the ordinary rate of pay to Moira. Dibrig Moira de Nora sa Chachtan. She worked 10 hours a week, agus ba an roll of vehicle on a letter she got glana, so she had to clean the toilets. Though she Gervintucky, she said she was a widow. Thurish Tomal after a while stopped she a chalk quick on Vonica. She stopped going to the factory. Agus near of Isig a monastery in Foss, so the manager never knew why. He all she and Mothroon concourt the hort he, so he asked the matron to visit her, ach near of an chalk Lostein in a rev Moira ig fannacht Foss in a Yasav, but the accommodation that Moira was staying in was not standing. Rark though, tá tús an Rark sitches sa teach court, so the start of this scene is situated in the courthouse. Agus ceistí an attorney though on Van Lostein, so attorney 2 questions the woman that was in the accommodation. There she gur hug she show Mercius the vor, so she said she gave Moira a room to rent, Dífein agus dá Anna for herself and her child. Dúirt Moira gur bhainteachtaí, Moira said she was a widow, agus hug she Banny Lera irhi féin, she called herself Banny Lera. Bhí an ban loistín áhar go bhrinseachí, so the accommodation woman was doubtful that she was a widow. Ar Lávella, on the other hand, dúirt she go raibh an cíosord, she said the rent was high, a bhí ábhailú aici ó Moira réasúnta, that it was reasonable for Moira, mar bhí Moira ag fáil pension buin trí because she was getting the widow's pension. Is léirgur fuaimíneach í sa slí seo, so it's clear that she's a hypocrite in this way. Okay. But an sochar a bhí le Moira, so the arrangement she had with Moira was go dúirigh she aird the lana Mora a written lay, so she'd look after Moira's child. Fathers bhí Moira ag obair sa bhunacha, as while Moira was working in the factory, agus díoch Moira airgad breise lé as 8 sin dhéanamh, and Moira would pay her extra in order to do this. Nor hit an chalóistín in nuas arthú I mí mórta, so when the accommodation fell on them in March, rug she ar Lanny féin, she took her own child agus rishi macas an teach, she left the house. Dog she lana for sa teach agus hit an teach an nuas, she left Moira's child in the house and the house fell down. On sin, buinan an túidir las an technique an éirearcha, so again the author uses the technique of flashback. Filling Moira own a positive vonacha, Moira returns from her job in the factory, agus tá an teach tite nuas. The house is fallen down. Nor Erin she ar van loistin covel Podrigine, so when she asks the accommodation woman where Podrigine is, Alana of her child, Fragrian and van loistin gnyarna she jarmadirhi, so the accommodation woman says she forgot her. Rihin Moira stocks a chalk agus Susan Styrley, so Moira runs into the house and up the stairs. Change she a gower ar Podrigine, who is Styr, so she goes to help Podrigine up the stairs. Agus tugan she amach le Podrigine in a backlí na kiss, so she comes out with Podrigine in her hands. Neil she sauced a Podrigine in legan as reich buinte sin sa drama airag, so she's not happy to let Podrigine out of her sight from then on. Tagan Seanine and Voter. Okay, so Seanine from the Shomerniacon from the washroom comes. Cashin shim na mana ella and Troyd, so he questions the other women on the street. Mariol made the horla about what happened. Dalrian she nachville she'd sauced the chachta gower of Moira, so they say that they're not happy to help Moira, agus Lanov and their child, Toshkville hours arhu gur her shingly, because it appears that she's a single mother, agus gwil Lanov tower eke, and she's an illegitimate child. Tugan she ban nav cordul irhi, so they said that she was an unfriendly woman. It's gilair ganyarna Moira irach the selach man prevoidach, so it's clear that Moira tried to keep her life private, con ruin a cosint, in order to keep the secret. Tá na maná sásta bheith istigh, a tuairt dó gach duine eile atá ag gruachtás seachas Moira agus a leanamh beag. So all the women who are inside are happy to help everyone who are in hardship but Moira and her small child. Cuireann Seanine an Voter an Kesh, so he asks the question, Cé a deir gur tíorchar siar seo, who said this is a Christian country? Targan Seanine an Voter she of the Vora, so Seanine gives Moira a lift. Má hasíonn sé uhi, ach níl ein áit dolacha, but she is if she wants the lift, but she's nowhere to go. And sin tagan Molly an Vod, so then Molly comes. Targan Molly cúnamh, agus a bheith istigh de Vora, agus dá lana bhar an tart. Okay, so she helps Moira and the child. Tugan Seanine an Voter she of Doiv. Seanine gives them a lift. Tá she iarúnta, it's ironic, garb I Molly an tain duine atá sásta cabhar haspáin de Vora, that Molly's the only one who's happy to help Moira. Is Triail, she's a prostitute, agus is ban I atá ar iman na tauki, she's a woman on the margin of society. Níl maná eile an Troid sásta cabhar Moira, so the other women are not happy to help Moira, agus a Lana and her child, mar go bhris Moira na rialach associate, because Moira broke the social rules. Agus ní raibh she credúnach dóir lo, and she wasn't credible because of that.